Hey everyone, welcome back. We got a jam-packed show for you guys tonight. A lot of stuff to talk about, and I forgot to update my agenda for tonight. I knew I was doing something wrong. But here's what we got. New Hampshire approves SBR, right? So it's the first state that has strategic Bitcoin reserve passed into law by the government there. So that's great news. Could that open the floodgates for the other states to do it? Possibly. We also have Cipher. They provided their quarterly results for Q1. We'll take a look at that. We'll have also Cleanspark and Iren providing us with production updates for April. We'll get into that. There's some good news from both of those companies as well as from Cipher. We'll get into that, and I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I think that's it for right now. Kind of busy, so let's get to it here. And as always, you guys know the drill. Not financial advice for entertainment only. Do your own research. Full disclosure below that. Hit the like button, subscribe. Helps me out tremendously. And let's take a look at what we got going on here with Bitcoin. Bitcoin is obviously pumping as well right now. Today had a pretty wild day. But let's take a look at it here right now. So Bitcoin was down to approximately, well, it went down to a low of 93,363, right? Last night I said we could go down to about 93,000. That could be our next support line, and sure enough, we kind of bounced off of that roughly right around there. And we bounced quite nicely today. And then we finished up being actually up 2.2% in the green. We closed at 96,138, and then we were up a little bit here on the new day for now Wednesday, which we did hit a high of 97,738. So we're starting to bounce back up here. The good thing is the RSI is a little bit lower while the price is about the same spot as it was back here, and the RSI was higher. So it gives us a little bit more room to run. So we could possibly, maybe, get to 100,000 later on this week. We'll see if this holds up. One of the things that was that I saw online was I saw somebody post that China and the U.S. are going to meet in Switzerland to discuss tariffs. I don't know how much validity there is to it or how much truth. But we'll see if that is the case, and maybe is that the reason why Bitcoin's kind of pumping up here. The miners, I mean, we're kind of mixed today. Stock markets were down for the most part, all of them. And let's take a look at what's going on here with, didn't want to go there. I wanted to go here. On this one, gold, let's take a look at gold here. Gold actually went down today a little bit here. It's down 1.74%. It was up, let's see here. Tuesday was actually up 3%, but now it's coming back down. US 30 yield bonds here were down just a little bit. This is on a new day. They were down on Tuesday as well. US 10 year was down as well. And then what else do we have here? Oil was up a little bit. Not much. Dixie was down a little bit. And now it's kind of coming back up. So that's kind of the way things are shaping up right now. But the miners were kind of mixed here. Somewhere in the green, somewhere in the red. Somewhere flat. Bitfarms was up just a little bit here, 1.42%. BitTier was up 6.5%, kind of bouncing back up after getting to the 50-day simple moving average. Cipher was up 2% on the day. It was doing a little bit better. It was like almost 4% at one point. Cleanspark was down pretty much for the day. It started out down pretty much and then stayed down until the end of the day. It finished out basically in break even there. CORZ was up just a little bit here, 2.74. Hive was up just a little bit, 0.58. And Hive was up nothing. It was flat on the day as well. Iren was up 5% here. Iren came out with a good report here. They're going to be reporting, I believe, tomorrow their quarterly results here. We'll take a look at that list here in a second. Mara was up just a little bit, 0.46%. Riot was down 0.51%. Wolf was up 4.35%. MicroStrategy was down 0.24. Galaxy was up down to 0.23 after having a nice run. It needs a little break there. Same with MicroStrategy as well. So I think there's some profit taken there going on. Small miners were also mixed, and the ETFs were actually in the green. So that's looking pretty good there. Bitcoin right now for the month of May is up about 2.81% here. So we're still in the green. We have a long ways to go in May as it is. Not to worry about it. Bitcoin ETF inflows were good yesterday. BlackRock, oh my gosh, they bought another 500 million worth of Bitcoin. And so we had another positive inflow of Bitcoin ETFs. 425 million in total. We did have some that were selling out, but I mean, BlackRock is the biggest one there. It's just continuing to buy in, and we'll see where it came in today as well. That's always a little bit late data there. We do have good news, obviously, here with New Hampshire. Right, this from Dennis Porter. Massive breaking. New Hampshire has become the first state in the nation to pass the Strategic Bitcoin Reserve Bill into law. History had been made today. We did it, yeah, and Dennis Porter was obviously a big integral part of that, and his team there at Satoshi Action Fund. So congrats to them and getting it through the finish line, goal line, whatever you want to call it. We just had, obviously, Arizona veto it last week, but now we got New Hampshire getting it. I didn't think New Hampshire was going to be the one that's going to get it first. I thought maybe Texas was going to be the one to get it first. Maybe Texas will be second in line. We'll see, right? Texas is pro-Bitcoin as can get. So I would think that they would be the next ones to get it passed through as well, but we'll see. No, so this is great news, right? All we need is just one domino to start falling, and then the other dominoes fall afterwards. And this is just the start of it here, where we'll probably end up seeing more and more states adopt some form of strategic Bitcoin reserve here going forward. Great news for Bitcoin, great news for us as we're hodling Bitcoin or buying Bitcoin. And then this should also be good news for the miners. So we'll see how the miners do tomorrow. With Bitcoin being up quite nicely today, we'll see if the miners can bounce tomorrow as well on it. So that is it on some of the news stories that I have right now for you guys. We do have a lot of things to talk about, obviously, with Cipher, Cleanspark, and Iren. So let's jump into those things, and then we'll get into Q&As as well. So Cipher reports their first quarter 2025 business updates. Here are some things that I thought were interesting, or some information here. Mr. Page had this to say: we are nearing completion of the Black Pearl data centers, phase 1 core and shell, and all our 4 substation transformers are now on site. Given the accelerated progress and expected energization in May, we've decided to immediately deploy rigs from inventory at the newly constructed site while we await the arrival of new machines expected later this summer. This strategic decision will bring approximately 2.5 exahash per second online 1 quarter earlier than anticipated through the efficient use of idle assets at no additional capital expenditures to the company. So that's great news there. I love seeing that. And also this redeployment will bring Cipher to 16 exahash by the end of the second quarter, while, with expectations to scale to 23.1 exahash by the end of the third quarter as the company continues to monitor the tariff landscape and new rig delivery schedules come into focus. So that'll be kind of interesting. They're going to be kind of battling with Hive here. Hive is supposed to get to 25 exahash by the end of the third quarter. We'll see who can get to their targets the fastest, or to their targets even at this point. Going down here, finance and operating highlights here. This was interesting here. Signed term sheet with Fortress Credit Advisors LLC to serve as the JV financing partner at Barber Lake. So this is where they could possibly get some HPCI deals happening there. And this goes along with Matthew Siegel here. He posted this as well on X. Matthew Siegel wrote, another Bitcoin miner signs landmark AI infrastructure deal. I don't know if there's any deal signed there yet. I think it's just the deal with Fortress there. But Cipher opened up 3% before fading to flat, still the best performing major miner in an otherwise weak tape. Despite a miss on revenue and EPS, the market rewards 2 key moves. 1, tactical pivot to redeploy idle Bitcoin mining rigs at Black Pearl, which is a good thing, right? Set to energize this month, avoiding infrastructure delays that hurt Riot last quarter. Yeah, we definitely saw that too. And then number 2 here, landmark joint venture with Fortress Credit Advisors. Fortress will fund Barber Lake's $3.2 billion build out, basically. Cipher contributes land and interconnections, retaining up to 49% of the economics, likely around 40% with no additional capex. So that's a good thing there. And then meanwhile, SoftBank, now a 3% equity holder after a $50 million pipe in January, remains in active lease talks. So that's also interesting there. I did not get a chance to listen to the conference call today. I'm going to try maybe listen to it tonight on that one, see if there's anything else that's interesting. But I think Matthew kind of laid it out here. And then an interesting wrinkle here. Fortress was previously owned by SoftBank, adding a curious connection to the evolving partnership, right? And I've said this before. It seems like connections that people that might move things in your direction when it comes to HPC AI, right? When we talked about this, we talked about Core with CoreWeave, right? Core had a previous relationship there where they were hosting their GPUs for CoreWeave a while back. So they had that relationship there already. And then obviously that led to CoreWeave investing a lot of money into Core Scientific and getting a nice deal there for, HPCI deal for a number of years, 12, 13, whatever years it is, and with a lot of money to be made there. The other one that we saw, kind of similar thing, was with TeraWulf, and TeraWulf had, I think it was Stanley Druckenmiller invest in TeraWulf as well, and then he was also somehow involved with Core 42 and everything else in there, so that kind of moved things towards their direction as well. So you're kind of seeing these types of things happening where if you have the connections, you're kind of possibly maybe getting some kind of deals here. Or at least the likelihood of a deal is much stronger than if you don't have any connections or any insights or people that can push things your way at least. But that could change, right? Anything is up for grabs here. So this is definitely very interesting, and one of the ones that we've been saying here, Cipher might be one of those ones that also gets it sometime. But nothing concrete yet. We just have some stuff that's in the works right now, which could, get them over the goalpost and land them a deal with somebody. We'll have to wait and see. But continuing on here on Cipher's notes here, and finance and operating highlights here, continuing on here, continued HPC tenant momentum at Barbara Lake site with multiple tenants under NDA and performing due diligence. Pipeline of 2.8 gigawatts of site capacity, which is huge, obviously. And then they had a Q1 net loss of $39 million or 11 cents per diluted share, and adjusted earnings of $6 million or 2 cents per diluted share if you take out some things like depreciation and other things like that as well. Okay, so let's take a look at the numbers that I have here for them. We'll go through it, and things aren't actually as bad as they seem. So let's take a look at Cipher. So Cipher right now, I probably should update this with the latest numbers, and I didn't update the stock prices today. But they did dilute a little bit here, about 2.68% from the prior quarter, which isn't that bad. It's actually pretty good here. So right now we're looking about 1.1 billion in revenue. I wish it was revenue. Market cap right now for them. Their stock price hasn't done that great in the last 12 weeks, down 47%. But in the last couple weeks here, 8 weeks it's up 3.9. Last 4 weeks it's up 30%, and last week was up just a little bit here, 2.6 as well. Current hash rate. We talked about this obviously when they reported here already. I'm not going to get into it here. Bitcoin holdings is still about $83 million worth, right? 855 Bitcoin there. That's only 7.51% of the market cap, so they're being valued more so on their operations and potential with HPC AI. Going that way, looking at the revenues here, revenue came in at 48.96 million for Bitcoin mining. This current quarter, I'm estimating about 42, which they might be down, but if they install more machines, they actually could be up, and Bitcoin goes up in value as well. That could bode well for them. That could possibly get another increase here. I'd like to see them get another positive growth in revenue for the current quarter that we're in, which is Q2 here. But we've seen nice growth here. Q3, right? 24 million, Q4, 42, and then about 6 million in revenue or growth in Q1. Kind of late, but they've been kind of more or less flat on their hash rate, as you can see here. That's the reason for it. That's what happens. Unfortunately, last 4 quarters operating costs minus depreciation here came down to 23 million from 27, so that's good that came down. Also, cost to mine 1 Bitcoin came down to 28,000 here from 36, so that's looking good. Bitcoin mine quarterly has increased over the last 3 quarters, or last 2 quarters actually, which is good. Debt to equity, lower is better. It's still really good, 0.24, and then current ratio higher is better. They're still at 1.1, so they're still in good financial health as it is right now on that one. Looking down here, we'll get into some of these calculations here in a second. But current assets right now looks like about 154 million. That's down a little bit from where they reported at the end of fiscal year end 2024, but not down too much. It's down about 14 million or so. Not too bad. Total assets actually increased to 913 million from 855 million. Liabilities here increased a little bit here to 138 from 131 million. And then total liabilities went up about 5 million to 178 million from 173. So nothing major here that I can see that would be of concern. Revenues, like I said, was 48.959 million. Expenses did come down, which was good. Cost of revenue came down to 14.8 from 18.2, so that's good there. Cost of revenue went down here. Obviously, we talked about that. Let me see. Compensation benefits as well came down about 2.4 million or so, from 16.7 to 14.3. I love seeing that, right? A decrease in that. I also love seeing the general administrative come down to 8.9 from 9.2. So about 300,000 roughly. That's a good decrease there. Depreciation went up. They got more rigs. That's understandable there. Power sales. What else do we have here? Change in fair value of assets. Obviously, Bitcoin price was down. That's the reason for that. Again, on fair value of Bitcoin, that was up because of that as well. What else do we have here? Overall, they had a loss of 38. And the main reason total cost and operating expenses was 87 million, and that's attributable to Bitcoin price revaluation. Bitcoin coming down, right? They have to take a loss on it, and that's the reason for it there. Going to other income and anything else, I don't think there's anything else that stands out majorly. Other expenses were down also to 156,000 from 1.3 million, so that was good to see. Overall, things were looking pretty good, but we still had a loss of 11 cents here based on the revaluation of Bitcoin and where it was at. If we take that out to minus depreciation, comprehensive income, we look at about 1 penny, right? I think they said that they had, what did they say? They got 2 cents per, yeah, so pretty close to it. I'm right around 1 penny on the positive side. So things aren't that bad. Things are actually pretty good. There's a lot of good things that they're doing, a lot of cost savings, which is good. And then if it wasn't for Bitcoin value coming down, that would have probably looked a little bit better there on everything else. So if we even take out the revaluation of Bitcoin, they probably would be doing even better. But going back up here, let me see here. General and administrative compensation, right? If we look at that, that's only 28%. So that's actually really good compared to where it was about, I got 61% here, but I'm not taking out the stock-based compensation, which I should have probably taken that out in Q4. So that's pretty good. Still would love to see that go under 20%, closer to like 15 and 10%. That would be really good. But I think as they get to scale and get to 23 exahash later on this year, that should come down even more at that point. Stock-based compensation of revenue was 18%. Looks like stock-based compensation, yeah, 9,000. What else do we have here? Trying to think. Price to book ratio 1.5. Book value was 734 million. Enterprise value 1.178 billion. EBITDA was 5. That seems wrong. 5 million only. Something is wrong. Something's not right there. And EV to EBITDA was 219. Debt to EBITDA 32. Yeah, and then cost to mine Bitcoin minus depreciation was 28,000. So that's good. That came down from the prior quarter as well. So good improvements, I would say. And then them getting also Fortress on board to help fund some of the stuff going forward. Them getting the miners plugged in earlier on is also really good. So they're doing all the right things here. They're also not diluting much, right? I talked about that. They only diluted 2.68% from the prior quarter, which is pretty good. They've been dilution has been pretty good. Been pretty low, which is good to see. But they've been also using the Bitcoin that they mine to fund their operations and grow things like that, which is a result why you're seeing the dilution being pretty low. On top of it, going back up here, based on the last 3 quarters, let me see. I think I updated this to the latest quarter. Current quarter is the one that we're in. Last 3 quarters should be actual December and let me see here, March. Yeah, so we're using the latest ones here. I was off by 2.94%. For some reason with them, I'm always up a little higher than others. I don't know if it's just the timing that they sell. I'm using the averages for the month when they might sell the stuff. They might be selling it at other times maybe. I had them a little bit higher here, so don't know why that is. Some of the other miners that I track are much better or closer to that. I nailed them here in June 2024. I was off by basically 0% at that point. So I may have to re-look at what did I do here differently. I don't think I did anything, but yeah. So that's taken into consideration their last 3 quarters plus the current quarter that we're in, so between 318 and 477. Today they were at like $3 or something like that. So yeah, based on this, they're still undervalued. And then if we look forward to the revenue that they got in for April times 12 months, having between 323 and 484, I think they're undervalued. The analysts have them at $9 for the target. That would give them a PE much higher than what I have them right now. That would give them a PE of about 28 or so on the higher end. Right now, I'm giving them a 15, but I think they might be considering the HPCI potential there that they could get, and that would definitely pump the stock up at that point. So I'm not taking that into consideration. I'm just looking at their Bitcoin mining here with all of these things. Okay, so great job by Cipher overall. Decreasing costs and expenses, that's great to see. Increasing their hash rate, which is great to see, and then them working towards possibly the HPCI deal there as well. That's fantastic. Let's see how they do going forward. So no, I have no complaints. They've done a lot of great things here. All right, let's get into the updates for the other miners that we do have here, which is going to be on Cleanspark first. Cleanspark provides our April 2025 Bitcoin mining update here. This is a quote from Zach Bradford. April brought a modest increase in network difficulty and some temporary hash rate curtailment due to ongoing construction, both unexpected and manageable factors, right? So their production was down a little bit from what it was the prior month. I was trying to figure out why that was when that came out. Like, why is their production down? That's the reason why. We remain committed to our core fundamentals and are on track to reach 50 exahash by mid-year. Mid-year, so sometime I'm guessing June, July, I'm guessing. They're not saying by the end of the first half. So mid-year, that's kind of where I would think. June, July, somewhere around there, they're going to reach 50 exahash. Let's see here. Our ongoing construction in Tennessee and Wyoming are nearing completion, and we will represent a significant step forward in expanding our operating capacity and long-term value creation. So that's great there. We talked about some of the other stuff here already, but here's what we got. Bitcoin produced in April, 633, so it is down from what they had in March. Total Bitcoin holdings did increase here to 12,101. And then month-end operating hash rate was 42.4, which was the same that they had the prior month as well. So nothing got really installed there. They are waiting to get those sites built out and then get the miners installed at that point. I'm trying to see if there's anything else. There isn't anything else. Let's take a look at the numbers that I have here for Cleanspark. So Cleanspark has about 280 million shares outstanding. We'll get an update from them on Thursday for their quarterly results here. But that gives them about a market cap of 2.2 billion roughly, as it is right now. The performance over the last 12 weeks hasn't been great. It hasn't been that bad either. Some miners are even down more than they are, but they're down 16% from 12 weeks ago. They're actually up 10% from 8 weeks ago. From 4 weeks ago, they're up 17%, and last week they were actually down 2.2% on it. Current hash rate is still the same, 42.4 exahash. Future hash rate about 56 right now. So they still have quite a bit of growth there going forward. And we should reach that probably, I'm guessing, by the end of the year sometime, maybe even by the end of the third quarter. We'll see. And now Bitcoin HODL, 12,101. That represents 1.176 billion for them. That's 51%, almost 52% of their market cap as it is right now. So they are being valued more so maybe on their operations than anything else. And you can see here that their production of Bitcoin is down well, I wouldn't say quite a bit. We had one less day in April than we did in March. That kind of contributed to it also. And then they were down because of curtailment. So 633, while we had 706 prior to that. Revenue was down also 54 million as a result of less Bitcoin mined, plus Bitcoin coming down in value during April there, right? April was a red month for Bitcoin. Bitcoin HODL continues to increase here, but they obviously sold quite a bit more here. They sold about 401 Bitcoins here, representing approximately 34 million or so. It's kind of hard to read there. And then their hash rate stayed the same month over month here for them. And then BTC per exahash efficiency, actually pretty good considering all things. 14.9, that's going to probably put them in the top 3 or so as far as efficiency as of right now that I can see things. For them, we'll get into some of these numbers here in a second. Institutions. Okay, so institutions are still buying into the miners, and especially Cleanspark here as well. So institutions increased to 439 right now, and shares owned by institutions is 187 million. That's 67.7% of the company right now, which is a huge increase from the 57% that they had a month prior. We still have the 4 strong buy ratings, 4 buy ratings, 1 hold rating, 0 underperforms, 0 sells. Price target went down a little bit here to 25 from 27, and the average went down to 18.44 from 19.25. The low is still the same at $12 there. And looking at the numbers here for April here, as far as what they were mining, it looks like they were mining for about 27.6 days on average. So we had 30 days in the month. They were down for about 2.4 days or so during the month. When you look at March had much better uptime. They were at 30 days. We had 31 days. So that was much higher operational uptime than what we saw in April. Okay, they had some curtailment and some things that were happening there. That's the reason for it. All right, but still not too bad. That got us to obviously the revenue of 54.721 million, and everything else looks good. What else can I say here? Oh, based on April numbers here, then times 12, I look at them being somewhere between 1754 and 2631. This is all just on Bitcoin mining, right? They don't have any HPCI ambitions or anything like that, at least not right now. So this is off on Bitcoin. They're at $8 something right now. It's maybe $7.99, whatever. I think they're probably the same, $8.09. So yeah, they're way undervalued from their operations where they really should be right now, based on what I'm seeing here. Them along with others, Mara and Iren and others as well on top of it. But yeah, based on that, they're undervalued. We know that. We know a lot of the miners are undervalued. When will they get finally valued properly? I don't know. But in time, I think they will. With Bitcoin going up, they should start getting valued more fairly, I think, as time passes by. I mean, what can I say? I mean, there wasn't anything bad in this. Yes, production was down a little bit. Curtailment was a reason for it. Also, the network hash rate increasing or difficulty increasing as well. That was part of it, okay. And then hopefully we get a much better month here in May than we had in April. So they just got to continue to install more hash rate, get the sites up and running as fast as they can, get the hash rate growing here, and continue to do that month after month, potentially. And we need Bitcoin to go up in value as well. All right, so that's it on that one. Let's take a look at Iren here. Iren had a pretty good update as well here. So this is for their April 2025 production update. Mining capacity increased to 40 exahash mid-month, and that's kind of where I have them at right now. On track for 50 exahash by June 30th. So they have about 10 exahash left to install. Miners scheduled to ship from Southeast Asia during 90-day pause on reciprocal tariffs. So they were kind of at a pause, I'm guessing, at that point, but they are finally shipping there, so that's good. So that's going to put them behind the 8 ball. They'll put them in a good spot if they can get them in time. And then the AI cloud service revenue continues to grow, which is good. And we've seen that here over the last several months. That has been growing, which is good. And then Horizon 1 A1 data center or AI data center on track for H2, so second half of 2025 delivery. What else do we have here? They got a bunch of things happening here. Average operating hash rate was 36.6, which is a nice improvement over what they had in March, 30.3. Bitcoin mined, 579. Nice improvement again from 533 that they had in March. So that was good. Revenue from AI cloud services was 2 million. We saw 1.6 million here in March, 1.2 million in February. So they've bought hardware, I think the H100s, and maybe even the B2, what is it, B100s or B200s? I can't remember now. But they bought some of those GPUs from NVIDIA, and they put in their own, basically, servers for those, and they're renting them out. And they're generating $2 million in revenue, and that's at a profit margin of 98%. That's actually pretty good, all right? So if they can continue to grow that, that's going to be good also. It just brings in more revenue for them. Management commentary here. We're proud to have expanded our mining capacity to 40 exahash during the month, further cementing Iren as one of the largest scale, lowest cost per month. I agree. They're doing a fantastic job there. And then with limited liquid cooled capacity currently available in the United States to support the rollout of NVIDIA's Blackwell GPUs, our Horizon 1 project scheduled for 2025 commissioning represents a key catalyst for Iren's entry into the AI data center market. It also lays the foundation for scalable liquid cooling deployments across our broader platform, which I also agree. So it's just now they need to get somebody for a lot of the megawatts that they do have available. AI cloud services fleet near full utilization with annualized full run rate revenue of 28 million. That's much better than what we saw last year, where they were at around 12, 14 million or something like that. So that's almost a double there. That's great to see. And then AI data centers here working collaboratively with suppliers to manage tariff impacts with no material change to Horizon 1 CapEx guidance of 300 to 350 million currently anticipated. So that's good to hear also, that there's not going to be any material delays in getting this all up and running here for them. Right? Q3 is coming up for them May 14th, so that's going to be next week for them. We'll cover it when it does happen, but let's take a look at the numbers that we do have here for Iren, and we'll get into Q&As as always. So Iren has about 218 million shares outstanding. We'll see where they come in at once they report their quarterly results. Currently market cap is about 1.3 billion. Performance has not been great here over the last 12 weeks. They're down almost 50% from 12 weeks ago. From 8 weeks ago, they're down 9.4%. From 4 weeks ago, they're actually up 6% or 16%. And then last week, they were down just a paltry 0.15%. So not bad there, right? Current hash rate 40 exahash, future hash rate 52 exahash. Still plenty of growth here happening for them this year. They don't hodl any Bitcoin. They sell everything that they mine, as you all know. And their production here has been increasing the last 2 months on Bitcoin, which is nice to see. They're at 579 right now as it is. So they're catching up to Cleanspark. They're going to be battling with Cleanspark, but Cleanspark has targets to grow even further in hash rate. So I think as long as their production is good, Cleanspark should stay ahead of them here, continuing on, unless Cleanspark does something to mess that up. But we'll see. Bitcoin revenue here increased a little bit here, month over month, 45.35 compared to 43.74. So that's good. That's based on more Bitcoin mining. Obviously, Bitcoin price came down. So that kind of hampered their revenue there a little bit. Hash rate, like I said, they installed about 3 exahash here. They do get these kind of spurts where they install, 3 exahash, 5 exahash, 7 exahash, 4 exahash in a given month, with a lot of stuff coming on at a certain point. So we should see that, I guess, some more maybe this month, maybe. If not, we're going to see a lot in June, especially if they want to get to 50 exahash by then. So that'll be interesting to see that. Bitcoin sold, like I said, they sold everything here. Efficiency, really good, also 14.47 for them. And let's go down here to institutions. Institutions also increased just a little bit here for them, 257. But shares increased nicely to 117 million. And then percentage owned is now 58 from 52%. So that's good. We still have 8 strong buy ratings, 3 buy ratings, 1 hold rating. And the price target actually went down for the high to 23 from 26. Average went down also to 1793 from 2077. And the low stayed the same at 12, as it is right now. And then here's what we had for the mining. In April, we had the mining for about 29.245 days. And then we had some miners, the new ones, right, the 3 exahash that got installed, running for about 15 days, as they reported that midway through the month in April. So I've been running for 15 days based on that information. So things are looking good. And that's got us to about, what is that, 50 million, right? Did I do that right? Yeah, 50 million. Yep. So that's looking good. And that is based on the average Bitcoin price in April, along with the network hash rate average for the month. All of that stuff gets contributed into it, and we get the numbers for it there. And we get pretty close to all the numbers pretty regularly. Now, based on that revenue in April, multiply that times 12 months, we get them at about 612 million in revenue, at least a 12-month run rate. Looking at that, we're looking at $20.99 to $31.48. They're at $6. They're way undervalued, in my opinion, right now. The analysts have them at 23 for the high. I'm a little bit higher than that as it is. And they're not really even taking into consideration possibly HPCI deals coming up, if they get anything, right? So based on the analysts, we're at probably 12 PE. I'm at 15 PE, but I have that for everybody here that's actually growing and doing really well. And we'll see if we can get there later on this year. Bitcoin pumps to 150,000, 200,000, whatever it might be. That would be definitely a wonderful thing to see here, getting that, if not even higher for these guys here. But in my opinion, right now, they're undervalued, just on what they're generating. And they're also one of the lowest cost to mine Bitcoin miners out there. I think they are actually the lowest cost right now. So, yeah, they're not being, I don't know why they're not being valued as well as some of the other ones, or even being valued the way they are in general. Could it be that they're Australian-based? Yeah, that could maybe play a little small role into it. I know that they've been talking about getting domiciled in the United States for reporting purposes. That should be happening, I think. If it hasn't happened, I don't think it has happened already. But I think it's going to be happening here in, I think they said possibly the first half of the year. So not much time left for them to do that, but love to see that as well. And maybe then they get maybe repressed a little bit here, but we'll see. What can I say about Iren? Continue the great work. I have absolutely no qualms here with them. They have been doing such a fantastic job here over the last, I would say, year and a half. They did have some hiccups a while back in like 2022, 2023, where they had to return a bunch of ASICs as part of the special purpose vehicles that they defaulted on because Bitcoin price went down. So that was a one-off event, I would guess, to say. But man, ever since then, they've been rocking and rolling. They've been doing a fantastic job here. So congrats to the team there. Keep it up. And hopefully they don't put too long of a pause on Bitcoin expansion with their HPCI initiatives. I'd like to see them continue to grow because, man, when they grow really, really nicely here. So we'll see. All right, let's get into your guys' questions here. As always, the spreadsheets are available to my Patreon members. Link for that is down in the description. A couple $1 a month helps me tremendously. Otherwise, my wife would be on my behind to, why am I doing this if I'm not getting paid for it, basically, if I'm not generating something for my time. So that definitely helps out, along with you guys watching here. Definitely helps out tremendously. Appreciate you guys all for doing that and for the support on Patreon and everything else. So thank you for that. Let's get into Q&A, see what you guys have to say, if anything at all, and we'll call it a day. We're only in about half an hour or so we're doing pretty good on time. I thought it was going to take us longer to go through all this data, but man. Okay, I've been kind of speed rambling here. All right, Q&A, let's get to it. Let's see what we got going on here. Where's Bitcoin right now? And why is my Q&A working right now? Something is acting up goofy here. Let's see. Will it load? It won't load. Yeah, interesting. Something's acting. All right, well, let's see if the questions actually pop up on it. Why is the other stuff not working here? Okay, let's see if we can refresh this one here. Are we having issues with the internet? There we go. Things are starting to pop. Okay, there we go. As always, questions, please preface them with a question mark or a Q. I do appreciate it. Well, I'm going to work my way up a little bit here and then work my way down with the questions as well. So be patient. I will get to all of those as well. What do we got here? All right. Gabriel has got a question. Do you think Bitcoin will hit 140,000 before it goes into another correction? I do think so. We went from basically 73,000 corrected down to 47,000. Then we went back up to about 109,000, corrected down to 70-some thousand, right? 78,000, I think it was. So I would see us potentially, if we're going to go back up, I would say, about 140, 150,000, and then we might correct for a couple more months, go down to 120, 115,000, whatever it's going to be, and then go back up to 180, 200,000, whatever that's going to be at that point. So yeah, I would think that would be the case. All right. Question here. Do you have a core base for Cleanspark that you wouldn't sell and hold it for 10 years? Maybe their value around $100 to $500 because of maybe Bitcoin will be around 500,000. As long as they don't dilute much, yeah, maybe they could be worth it. But if they dilute consistently, which they're not doing this year, but would there be a case for me to hold it that long? The only way I would hold it that long would be is if this cycle is completely different from the other cycles that we've had, and this becomes an extended cycle. Meaning, like we just talked about with Gabriel's question, what if Bitcoin goes up to 140, corrects down to 120, 115, goes back up to 180, 200,000, corrects back down to 160 or something like that, 150, whatever it might be, then goes back up to 250,000. If we have an extended cycle, then maybe that would be the only way I would consider holding. But even at that point, I don't think I would hold everything that I have. I would definitely sell a portion into it and see where things go. Basically, at least take my money out and then maybe see where things go, or take a larger portion of it, at least try to make some money on the last 3 years that I've spent researching them and everything else. But that's the only way I think I would do that. Okay. KB Dub says, I'll buy Mara when it's $7. I don't think it's going to go down to $7. Their value for Bitcoin hodl that they have right now, yesterday, at least last night, was more, their hodl was valued more than their market cap was. So I don't think it's going down to $7. That would be just crazy at that point. All right. How high Hut 8 Cleanspark can do? How high? I mean, if they get priced properly, they can go much, much, much higher. My lowball conservative estimate and sandbagging it is if Bitcoin goes 2x, I would expect these guys to do at least a 3x. That's kind of my expectation there on the very, very bare minimum of what they could possibly do. Other than that, I mean, if they get a deal for HPCI or something like that, they're off to the races. If there any good news, growth, Bitcoin goes up to 150,000, 200,000, whatever it might be, that might be, what propels these guys up much higher. Similar to what we saw last cycle, maybe not similar to what we saw. I mean, last cycle was kind of crazy. Mara was up 70x from the bottom. So, yeah, I would expect much better gains going forward, though, but we'll see. BMC says, I don't understand why people don't give the thumbs up. I appreciate that. Great job. I do appreciate that. Yeah, and maybe I don't promote it enough for people to hit the thumbs up button. That's my fault. I'm not a great salesperson. I'm more of a data guy, and I keep my head down and do what I got to do. But yeah, I should be out there probably saying that more. Hit the like button, helps me out. Gary's got a question here. Are you still confident Mara pigs who bought at $82 at the peak of last cycle will be profitable by the peak of this cycle? Oh gosh, I don't know. I mean, what are they at? $13 right now or something like that? Yeah, $13.55. That would be roughly what, a 5x from here? Is it possible? Yeah. I mean, is it likely? I don't know. Getting a 3x on this, yeah, some of the people that obviously bought in at much higher prices, I don't think it's the Mara pigs. Maybe it is the Mara pigs as well, but there's a lot of people that definitely got hurt, not with just Mara, but with Riot and everybody else that was much higher. But you always have that at anything that you buy into that comes back down in price. So there's always going to be somebody that loses money on it, unless you hold on to it, but that's the case, unfortunately. So love to see it happen, but I don't know. The miners have not been performing like the last cycles, so I'm tempering down my expectations here. BMC says 98 watching, 11 thumbs up. Yeah, what the heck? Yeah, come on, guys. Hit the thumbs up button. Helps me out. Doesn't cost you anything. Let's see. Sarah says this could be the worst sector in the market. Possibly, if they continue to perform it the way they have. Might be. I love go hit the like button. Seb deserves it. I appreciate it. Thank you for that. Angie, anyone here sold their miners bag yet? I don't know. I still have mine. I've been buying in. I haven't been buying in recently in the last probably 6 to 7 weeks, but I'm looking to buy more in the summer again. Bar's got a question here. Hey, Sebastian, can you consider covering Bitcoin acquisition companies as well as the miners? Might be wise for viewers to be informed and maybe diversified. Thanks. So you're talking about like similar MicroStrategy, obviously, as well. And yeah, we could possibly do that. See how those guys are doing and others as well that are buying it. But let me look into it. We do cover MicroStrategy here quite a bit as well. When they buy, any news on them as well. And see where they're at as far as things. And how do they compare the miners and Bitcoin on the weekly time frames as well. But that's not a bad idea. All right, Omar's got a question here. In terms of future exahash targets, who has the largest, let's say, by end of 2025? Okay, it's hard to tell with Mara. Mara continues to grow month after month without having any real forecast as far as what their growth is going to be. So that one's kind of questionable. I don't know where they're going to end up at. Based on what Cleanspark has purchased here so far, has placed orders for, there should be getting to about 56 exahash, but they're working on other deals as well, so they could possibly get beyond that. After that, Iren's pausing at 52. Riot is pausing at, what is it, 44, something like that, exahash. So I would say it's going to be between Mara and Cleanspark probably are the ones that might have the largest exahash by the end of the year here. I just don't know who's going to. Mara could continue to have the lead, depending on what Cleanspark does there. So that's kind of what I'm seeing, at least right now. In terms of percentage growth, that would be possibly Hive, I would think, with the percentage growth. Getting from 6 exahash to about 25 exahash. That's going to be what, a 4x for them, 3x, 4x, whatever that's going to be. Pete, thank you so much for that. As a thumbs up, definitely help. Appreciate you guys here pointing that out to others as well. You guys are helping me out tremendously. Thank you. Okay. When is the interest rate decision? I thought that was tomorrow. Is it tomorrow or Thursday? I can't remember. History says 2 Eastern time. Yeah, so it's tomorrow. All right. What software do you use to run the banners with the ticker prices? Thanks. It's not software. It's actually the software that I'm using here is, what's it called? Oh, gosh, what is that called? Ecamm Live. And then you can have widgets, and the widgets are whatever you see down at the bottom here. I don't know, you can't see it here, but the bottom, the ticker widget is from TradingView. So I basically have my own little server running with a website on it, with a web page, and that's all configured by myself the way I want it to do. Same thing with the chart over here for Bitcoin. That's from TradingView as well. That's a widget that you can include on that as well. And you can just kind of space it out where you want to, I guess. Kind of cool software with Ecamm Live. You can do this also in the one that I was using earlier on. I can't remember the name of it now. But it's an open source free software. It's like, oh gosh, what's it called? Hold on. I don't know if I still have it in here. I don't. But there's another one that's free. OBS. OBS is the other one that you can use. Sour says no rate cuts coming. Yeah, tomorrow might be tough for a rate cut, but I think I heard some places are looking at maybe 3 rate cuts later on this year. June, July, I think, and September, something like that. Okay, where are Iren's most debt coming from? Where's their debt coming from? I think it's the build out of the HPC that they're working towards on that. I think that's where the debt is mostly. Funding that build out of that infrastructure, buildings, whatever it might be. What are your thoughts on Compass Point's downgrade of Mara to sell with a target of around $9? I think that's kind of ridiculous, actually. Do they have a short position on them or something? I don't know. That seems just crazy to me. Like I said, their market cap right now is about even. Last night it was actually lower than their HODL value for Bitcoin. Doesn't make any sense there. Okay. Barra says, no rate cuts, but I'll look for rate cut in June matters. Market is forward looking. I'm expecting shakeout and then pump to all-time high. Nice. Yeah, I'm thinking that we might see some rate cuts happening later on this year. But we'll see. His history says cycles are over, so you're thinking the same way that I am, that the cycles are different this time. At least this cycle is different than what it was in the past. I've talked about this probably in the last, I would say maybe a couple months. In the last couple months, I've been saying that the cycle is way different than what we've had in the past. In the past, Bitcoin would be pumping really hard, correct for 3 to 5 days, and pump really hard again. Now Bitcoin pumps, but then we're correcting for 3 to 5 months before we go back up. So it's way, way different than what we've seen here at all prior cycles. Let's see. Par says, I don't agree with cycles being over. Why fear greed? Unless we humans change, the cycles will not. Well, okay, you're looking at, if you look at Bitcoin in general, right, the cycles that we see typically are the bull and the bear markets. But if you look at the markets, which are more mature, like the S&P 500, the NASDAQ, the New York Stock Exchange and all that, if you look at those are more mature. There's a lot more capital going into those things. Those things, yes, they do have their corrections of 10, 15, 20%, whatever it might be, and then they continue to go back up over the long term, right? There's really isn't that repeat of the cycles, more or less, like we've seen here in Bitcoin, at least historically over the last 12, 14 years, whatever it's been, where we've had these huge blow-off tops, huge corrections at the end of it, and then we repeat the cycle again. Whereas this time we might have these smaller corrections of 20, 30%, and then continue to go up from there. So by that term, that's what I mean is completely different. And the time frame for that to happen is extended out. So extended cycle potentially, or no more cycles in general. All right. Kim's got a question here. Thoughts on Cleanspark all-in cost coin with depreciation accounted for? I'm not very impressed. If we include depreciation, stock-based compensation, all that stuff, you're looking probably closer to, let me see, what do I have them at without that? Without that, I'm at like, where's it at? Break-even cost, bear with me while I pull that up on my charts here. Break-even, there it is. Okay, so Cleanspark, I got about like 62, 63,000 without stock-based compensation and depreciation, right? You add on top of that, then you're looking closer to like 85, 90 some thousand to break even at that point. But again, stock-based compensation is not a cash cost. Neither is depreciation, right? Depreciation is a thing you use for lowering possibly your tax burden. So that's why it's being on there as well. But yes, they do purchase the machines. They, so they depreciate them over time. But that's kind of already accounted for in the depreciation, in the dilution that we've seen here on that. So dilution is already kind of implied in there. Okay. Iren negatives, no HODL, 1 billion ATM, not domiciled in the United States. Okay, yep. Yep, I would agree with that. No HODL, right? Maybe that's a negative on them, for sure. ATM 1 billion, that's another one. Yeah, I think the biggest one out of those things is probably the 1 billion ATM. Because at that point, it's kind of like, they're going to be playing on that ATM, so the stock's probably going to be going down. Let's see. History says demand will slow. It will speed up. I also believe that as well. BTC is dumping. It's down 0.31%, nothing major. Yeah, you're very welcome. Thanks for coming in here. Greatly appreciate you guys coming in. More Mara dilution is inevitable, coming $1 soon. Well, if they dilute and buy more Bitcoin, they're kind of be playing the same strategy as same strategy as strategy. And strategy is definitely getting a premium on that. So maybe in time they will get it. We'll get a premium on it. When do you think Bitfarms will hit $4? I think Bitcoin's going to have to be 150,000, 175, 200,000, whatever it's going to be, for them to get there. And then also, I mean, it could be they're faster if they get something for HPCI deal with somebody. All right. Which miner will be making the most total mining profit by end of 2025? Mining profit? Oh, gosh. So you're looking at, that might be Iren, actually. Just on mining profit, it might be, I would say Iren, possibly. They have the lowest cost. We'll see what their numbers come in at when they report for Q1. I think it's there actually Q3 or something like that. But yeah, we'll see what that comes in. But that might be Iren, unless Cleanspark, for being able to increase their hash rate and getting basically being able to improve their margins that way, right? So if they improve their margins that way, that could help them out. But I would say it'd be close between those two. Omar says, thinking about time to sell, we're still targeting by end of 2025, right? That's the target here right now, where we might have a blow off top with Bitcoin. I think Bitcoin might, get pretty high, closer to 200,000 by the end of the year. And then I think we got to get a correction again where we go down for 3 to 5 months and then go back up. But yeah, that might be where the miners at that point will do very well. And if you've been in them for a while, it might be a good time to take profits at that point. See, Compass says price target is accurate. Fred is going to dilute the company into the ground. Well, he's diluting for sure. I don't think he's going to dilute the company in the ground. I think they're also doing a lot of good things, right? They're working with, they have a project there, or they're already doing it with the flared gas locations. What do they have? 25 megawatts there, I think it is. Of those operating, they have also bought the wind farms to then hook up some of their older generation machines that can continue to mine basically for free or close to free. But there's going to be some upkeep cost on the windmills themselves, wind turbines. But overall, it should be pretty low cost there. So that's a benefit to them. And I mean, right now it seems like they're playing the strategy playbook, right? But they're not being valued on it. So they need, they're going to go up possibly at that point. And they also need to bring down their cost structure as well. And what it costs them to mine, I think that's going to be a big thing as well. Financial Ernie, thanks for coming in here. Do you think the U.S. government and or states will incentivize miners by reducing taxable income this year? I don't think so. I don't think that's going to happen. If so, the ones that paused will have a hard time catching back up. I don't think that they're going to incentivize those. Yeah, I don't think that will be the case. I know Trump has met with a number of those guys there, but I just don't see that. And maybe they could, but I just don't see it. Maybe I'm wrong on that. Because I don't think they want to single out a single industry, especially Bitcoin mining. Well, his sons are getting into Bitcoin mining, so maybe they do that. I don't know. You know, they do seem to do things that are going to be benefiting them. So maybe, yeah, I mean, maybe there is a chance for that to happen. Let's see. History says it passed a 1-for-10 reverse split 9 months ago and didn't need it, so you may get $10 soon. Are you talking about Bitfarms there, I think? I think you might be talking about Bitfarms, I think. Omar asked a question, how are you feeling about Trump's tariffs? Well, still a lot of unknowns. Uncertainty is not a good thing in the markets, but the markets have held up pretty good here, all things considered. Bitcoin especially. Do you think he will finally fold soon? If you could throw a date out, markets need this to pump. I don't know if he's going to fold on it. Supposedly they got some deals happening in the background. And supposedly they're supposed to meet with China and Switzerland coming up as well to talk about the tariffs. I don't know if he's going to fold there. We'll see. I don't like the way that they did it, but it is what it is, and we're dealing with it right now. But yeah, they need to get that stuff figured out relatively quickly here. Let's see. Omar says, damn, financial earnings here. Yep. Omar, love your work. I'm guessing you're talking about financial earning there. Maybe me. I don't know. But I do follow financial earning as well. What is your take on CORZ at this point? CORZ. My take on CORZ right now is, one, they got to get those block miners, get their hash rate improved a little bit and their efficiencies there as well. Because their Bitcoin mine is getting lower and lower each month. They don't do that. And then they got to get the sites built out and ready for CoreWeave to put their machines in, their servers, and get those things energized so they can start making money as fast as they can from CoreWeave. But that's supposed to be happening here towards the end of the year. So I think there's still a lot of good things going for Core. And then it would be nice to see them get another customer outside of just CoreWeave. But that might happen not until 2026, maybe around that time frame. We'll see. But overall, I'm still long-term bullish. I don't own any cores right now. I did own it last year, and I sold it at a profit. But yeah, I still think they have a lot of good things happening here for them. All right. Gary says, Iren is U.S. domiciled on July 1st. They need to complete June 30th year end. Okay. That makes sense. So that's why they're saying at the end of the first half, or something like that. All right. Global M2 tomorrow. Let's see BTC. What going to do? Yeah, that's coming up tomorrow. I think we'll get the numbers for that. That'll be interesting to see if that's gone up. I'm guessing it's gone up as well. All right. Are you looking to buy any miners at these prices, current prices? Yeah. Oh, I'd be looking to buy. I want to buy this whole time. I've been wanting to buy in the last 6-7 weeks, but I haven't been able to. And I've said this before. I needed to pay my I got to pay property taxes here at the end of the month, but then I also had to pay income taxes in April, right? So I had to save up a bunch of money to do that. I had to pay a lot more than I thought I was going to, which hurt because I wanted to buy in this dump that we had on the miners and everything else, but I couldn't. So I'm still trying to save up some cash here to start buying up. Maybe at the end of May here, I'll start buying. But I would be, if I had the cash, I'd be buying like crazy right now on these things. It's just unfortunate the way things turned out for me that I can't. Let's see, Hard Knock says Mara is insanely oversold. I agree. Compass are idiots. I would also agree there. It doesn't make any sense for them to be valued at $9 with their HODL being valued more than the market cap. Omar, you're very welcome as always. All right, I think I've caught up to all your guys' questions here. And we've gone for about an hour. So, yep. We'll call it a day. Tomorrow we have on the docket here, Core is reporting tomorrow. Hut 8 is reporting on Thursday, along with Cleanspark and Mara. That's going to be a busy day there. And then we also have Iren reporting next week on the 14th and BitDeer on the 15th. I'm still waiting. Oh, Matt Case is here. Hi, buddy. Thanks for coming in. Hoping you are in your PJs and enjoying your night right now. But yeah, we got a lot of stuff to cover later on this week and then next week as well. And then I'm still waiting on a couple miners to report their numbers for us for production for April. Let's see, who am I still missing here? I'm still missing quite a few of those guys. Where is it at? Miners comparison chart. I am still missing, let me see here, BitDeer to report, Core, Hive, Hut8. So basically I got 4 more miners that need to report that they haven't reported yet on those, and then we'll look at a bunch of metrics based on all that stuff. Okay, but that is it. Call it a day. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming in. Greatly appreciate you all. I love you all, as always. And again, thanks for coming in. I hope you guys have a great night. We'll talk about everything else tomorrow at that point. Bye.